talking and I told um and so, it was an interesting conversation because I expected her to be against it. She was in full support with me. She apologized for making me feel like I had to be ashamed. And I, gave her the definition of brown pride. And I was like, there's nothing wrong with it, you know. And she was telling me again that it was like wearing a white pride shirt and that if we were allowed to wear these, then the white pride shirts were allowed. And I'm like, students are gonna wear white pride shirts either way, but they're not gonna get told anything. Like you let them put their Confederate flags on their trucks and they don't get told nothing. But when it comes to us, it's a huge deal. And, she even told me if I wanted to protest, she wouldn't stop me. Just it would be better for me to tell her. That way, she could like tell the teachers and staffs around the school. Um, and she even gave me a day to do it too, right after Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And, you know, I was like in shock, not gonna lie. And so, I, was working on the protest. I had people making signs. A teacher at my school who helps me a lot, she made out 500 flyers for the protest. Um, I was I only had like 16 left within a week, and people were sharing it online. They were it I know it even made it like all the way to California, actually. So I thought that was like amazing. And when the day came, I was actually running on like 2 hours of sleep. I couldn't sleep for some reason, and I ended up at the school around like 6, like way before any students had gotten there. And the store that I modeled for, they have a photographer named Gordy, and the owner's son, Diego, went there too. And then the owner came later on, and I wasn't expecting a lot of students to show up, and there was more than like 50 students, not even students even outside of the community as well. And they, were wearing, their brown pride. It was it was amazing. And, I had music playing, and my original plan was to walk around the school and then leave when first period started. And so we would be outside and not interrupting class. Well, a friend of mine, she was holding up my hoodie and I was like talking to her, like thinking about where we should put the speaker. And the dean of students comes, Stephanie Archuleta, and tells me that, oh, you have to take your protest outside. You cannot have it inside because you'll be interrupting class if you do it right now. And I told them like class doesn't start in like 20 minutes. Like I'll be in and out quick. And she was like, yeah, no, sorry. You kind of have to be thankful for what you have. And I remember just giving her like the most dirtiest stare ever. And I was like, okay. And so she left, and my orchestra teacher who was in the room with me at the time, she seen like the frustration, and I knew that she was frustrated too. Um, and so I had no sweater. It was 29 degrees. There was wind. Um, and we all went out there. I had the news out there. I wasn't expecting them to come. And then I seen them and I had like a huge like relief. And this was around the time, so 7:30, around the time where kids are getting dropped off by their parents. And so people were seeing us, they were honking at us, they were cheering. Some kids even just like got off the car and just joined us. And for the ones that didn't have signs, they, made like signs on their phones. Um, and, we were shouting Brown Pride. And we wanted to go inside, but they were blocking the door, like every entrance to the school. And there was one staff outside, which was Miss A. She was following us when we were walking around. We went onto the sidewalk so that the cars could see. Um, we had people going live, taking pictures, taking videos, just sharing it everywhere. Some students have even made their own TikToks. And Jefitos, well, the owners and the photographer and stuff, they were recording as well. They went live onto their channel. Um, and, I was taking pictures, I was taking videos, and my boyfriend, who is from Elevate, actually came to the protest too, because he tried stopping, brown pride and the rosaries from being banned, but he wasn't successful with it. And so, he came to support me. And when we were trying to go inside, the principal was telling, my boyfriend, like, you have to take off, your brown pride shirts, hoodies. You have to give us the signs that say brown pride, even though she said that we could carry our signs throughout the day. Um, and he was telling her, like, you're silencing us again. Like, the whole point of this was to be heard, and you're being like everybody else, ignorant, instead of letting us go inside. And a friend of mine, she was right next to him, and she went off on the principal. She was like, how come you just decided to switch up on Brenda when, you told her that she could do this and do that? And, she even said, she's like, what the hell is wrong with you? And she just shut the door. Like, she couldn't even answer her question. Um, we were outside for like a good while, actually, 7:30 till like 8:41, I believe. Um, and I told students that if they wanted to go inside because they were cold, that was fine. Like, it's not a big deal. Um, and the principal told me that everybody would be excused from first period. Well, she didn't excuse anybody. Everybody was late. Their parents had to call them in. And I told my mom not to call me in late. I was like, no, just leave it. But so, when a student was trying to get in, which is in my video, he knocked on the door or on the window asking if he can go to class. And, so the Miss A, the lady in my video, she opened the door for him, and he was trying to go in, and she immediately just started like blocking his entrance into the school and pushing him forward. And she's like continuing to say, I'm not on you, you're on me. And then she pushed him forward again. And he just like made his way in. He was trying to go to class, and they suspended him for 2 days. Um, I I honestly thought that was stupid. There's no reason to, They said that if we wanted to go to class, we could. But nobody went to class. Luckily, that was the only, like, I guess, somewhat violent thing that happened. But everybody was respectful of the rules that I had, which was no violence, no weapons, no nothing. And so, when it was over, um, they had shut off the headlights so that people wouldn't see us, and it was still dark. So everybody was going back inside. Some students like were hiding their signs and their shirts, because I told them, like, there's no point of having a protest about this if you're gonna just take it off. So they left it on. Some students just zipped up their sweaters. Some students like removed it and then they put it back on as soon as they were out at the teacher's site. Um, and I was saying bye to my boyfriend, who came because he was gonna go back to school. And when he left, students a few students came out from the school, and they were calling me, and I said, what's up? And they were saying that they weren't allowed back into the school and to go to class, and I was asking why. um, and they said it's because of their clothing. They are being refused to go back inside. um, and one of them, she had a brown pride hoodie, and she had sweats that said Jefitos hats. And according to the dean of students, Stephanie Archuleta, it's gang related now. Um, and Sunny, the owner of Jefitos hats, even confronted her about it. And when me and other students tried calling her out on it, she just like walked back inside the building. When a friend of mine has, I guess in a way has been like harassed by her because of her sweatpants that say Jefitos. Um, and, I was like, well, I'm not going to leave you guys out here. So I'm going to stay with you guys out here. Let me just go get my stuff. And then me and you can wait out here till school ends. Um, So we went in, and I have a video of this too. Um, my friend Alexis took it. She is not Latina or anything. She is white, but she was by us the whole time. And thanks to her, we have some of these videos and like this evidence. Um, there's a point in like the rally where she led the rally to me because I was talking to other people, and she had people shouting "Brown Pride, Viva la raza," like so. A lot, some like credit goes to her too. And so when we went in, Stephanie Archuleta, there were still students like trying to go to class. Um, she told this boy something. Um, and so he said it back to her. I'm not sure what it was. I didn't hear it at the time. But she didn't like it, and she got up all in his face. They were literally touching noses and was like, "You're suspended." And he didn't care. He's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "I don't care." Um, and my friend Alexis is like, "Why are you getting into his face? Like, give him his space." I hope you lose your job. This isn't gonna go to the news reporters. This isn't gonna be all over social media. And Archuleta simply says, like, "I don't care." Like, you can hear her. And Alexa's like, "You know what, guys, let's just go back outside." And then Archela's like, "Thank you." And she's like, "You're welcome." Um, so after that, I had my Brown Pride hoodie on, and I asked her, "Can I go get my stuff in the orchestra room? Like, I need it." And she's like, "You have to take off your sweatshirt." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" She's like, "No." She's like, "I see you. I understand you. I respect what you're doing." Um, she's like, "You're noticed here at Caldwell High School." And I had enough of her, and I just like walked out. And I was like, "If you respected me, you guys wouldn't have changed my plans the day of the protest." And I walked out. My friend ended up going to get my stuff for me because I texted my orchestra teacher. And then my friend Alexis, she was inside. I wasn't sure when she went in, but I guess around the same time, my friend, the one who was, I guess, in a way, is being harassed by Archuleta about her sweatpants, she needed to use the restroom. She hadn't gone within like almost 2 hours. And we have like a camera and a buzzard at our school, and she like kept buzzing and they would not let her in. And then she told them like, "I need to use the restroom." So she goes in, and then they say like, "Oh, we have a shirt for you. You need to take off your sweatshirt in order to use the restroom." So that's what she's like, "Okay." And it was a sweatshirt. She didn't have anything underneath, and she was just gonna take it off right there. Well, as soon as she lifted up her shirt, they suspended her on the spot. And she walked out and was about to pee in the corner of the building. And as soon as they saw that, they called her in to use the restroom, and then they sent her back outside. And she had told Alexis to go get her stuff because she had homework that she wanted to do. Well, when she was trying to go get her stuff, Archuleta stops her and's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm just trying to get, you know, my friend's stuff. Like, she has homework to do." And she's like, "You need to get to class now." So she ends up calling her mom and explaining everything to her right in front of Archuleta. And Archuleta again says like, "You need to go to class now." And Alexis, she's like, "You can wait a minute, like, I'm on the phone with my mom." And Alexis' mom, she told her to tell Archuleta to mind her own business. And so that's what she did. Archuleta didn't like it, so she suspended her right there. And she asked her, she's like, "Why?" "Because I told you to mind your own business, because I'm defending people, or because I'm white and you'll let me into the building because I'm not one of them, right?" And she just walked out. They refused to call her parents. They locked us outside, which in like as a form of punishment, they can do that, but it we have to be in a warm temperature room, access to food, water, and the restroom. That's a school policy and it's in their school book. They broke that policy with us, especially with the suspending students. So when my friend's mom came, my friend Alexis, her mom came, and I have a video of this too. She's getting into it with Archuleta. Um, And Archuleta lied to her, saying that my friend was yelling in the hallways, cussing at her, doing this and doing that. And we all knew that was a lie. And she was trying to tell this kid to go stand on to get off of the school property because he was suspended and to go stand on the sidewalk or something like that. And two other parents had shown up too. One of them was actually a lawyer, and one of them is a lady from LULAC. Um, they showed up, and as soon as my friend's mom got there, they were gonna let us in. Well, as soon as my friend and her mom went in, they shut the door on us. Um, and my hands were turning purple, like my legs were hurting, like our bodies were just hurting. We were out there till like third period, so around like 9, 10ish. And you know um, I called my mom and explained everything to her, and she just said to leave. We ended up going to my friend's house where the owner of Jefitos came to have like a little meeting, and we just decided not to go back to school because if they were just gonna keep treating us like that, um, we're not gonna do it. So other students still had their brown pride on. Some of them had brown bandanas, and my friend's boyfriend actually, he was telling me that he had gotten written up, I think like two times maybe, and he just refused to take it off. And a teacher had even told him like, "Why are you wearing that crap for?" And he's like, "Because I can." And he didn't care, which I was glad that thankful that he did that. Um, and I was really thankful for everybody that came out for joining this protest. um it was it was an interesting protest, especially after the next day. Me and the other students that had gotten locked outside, the staffs were trying to ask us, "Oh, how did you sleep? What did you guys eat for breakfast?" Like trying to act like they care. The principal had called me in saying that she was proud of me and stuff like that. And I told her, I'm like, "You're not allowed to talk to me unless I have a lawyer present." And I just walked out of the room. Um, like maybe a month later, almost a month later, they took me out of my orchestra class as some form of like punishment, I'm assuming, because I, was in a Zoom meeting and I wasn't participating in my orchestra class at that time because, I had a full schedule. And so my orchestra teacher understood, and she's like, "You can take a break for as long as you need to." So that's what I did. I was swamped with interviews and, just different things and events that I was invited to go to. And we had a sub one day, and I was in my teacher's office doing, a little Zoom meeting about this event that I was supposed to do. And the sub decides to call the office, ask them. And my orchestra teacher wrote a note to tell her, like, "Do not bother me, especially when I'm doing these type of things." And they even told me like, "Well, why aren't you participating in orchestra? Like, we need to have you doing something." And I strictly told them why. I have it on video too. And the vice principal asked me, "Do we need to change your schedule?" And I told them no, not to change it. Well, they did it anyways. They still changed it, without double checking with me to see if it was okay. And when I went back to the principal and I told her, I'm like, "You can't talk to me unless I have my lawyer present." And she's like, "Yeah, I need that on paper and it has to be signed by a judge," which she gave me false information. It does not have to be signed by a judge. Um, and she's like, "I have lawyers too." And I'm like, "Okay, good for you." Um, so do I. Um, she was, trying to keep talking to me, and I just walked out on her. I didn't really care, because, you know, instead of letting me go back to class when I was called down to the office, they had the vice principal escort me to the orchestra room to go get my stuff. And then they told me to wait in the office without giving me any reason. And I didn't wait. As soon as like they went inside the room, I left. Um, and so I was so upset. They ended up calling my mom, and I told my mom like what had happened. And around that time too, I was trying to get in contact with the school district here in Caldwell, Idaho, about speaking at the next board meeting, which is a public meeting to the community, you know. And from what I've been told, you can kind of just go up and speak, right? Um, I emailed them and they, of course, had to invite the principal into the conversation. Um, I asked them, what time they wanted to meet because they wanted to meet with me privately. And they never got back to me at all. And it was the day of the, like, 3 days before the school board meeting, before I was told I was not on the agenda to speak, and that apparently there were proper steps to take in order to get onto the agenda. Um, which honestly, I felt like in a way it was like a setup, for them not wanting me to speak about this issue. And especially since my video went viral about, what the school was doing. And I straight up, told the news too. I was like, they told me to take off my hoodie. Like, first telling me it's racist and like wearing a white pride shirt, and now it's gang related, apparently, all because of one gang here in Idaho that has constantly been changing their name. Like, you take away, you know, the clothing, the gang is still going to exist. Like, it's ridiculous. And I think them seeing that a bunch of Mexican American singers and rappers and you know um for example, like Brown and Proud LA, they shared the video. I made it on Fools Gone Wild. MC Magic J Rocks had shared it. Uh, Mr. D has shared it as well. Mr. Capone made a video about it. It had gotten everywhere. And then it went onto the news and just a bunch of different news articles and news companies. You know, it it went everywhere. And it was this one guy actually who I wish could make it into this meeting. His name is Eric Garcia, the activated Mexican. He started Brown Rock. He made a video and he had leaked the principal's email. And so the principal was getting emails like that night since he posted it on TikTok. She's basically getting harassed and she still is. There's emails from both sides like, oh, why did you let them do that? Like, they should be in class. And the other emails are all like, you're racist, like, I hope you lose your job. And I guess she's now getting death threats too. um and I think they in a way see me and other students as a threat, um, because one protest really did change everything in this community right now. um right now I am struggling with the school board. I emailed them again about being able to speak at the next meeting. This was my third time trying to contact them. I had actually called somebody at the school board named Keely. I had asked her, I want to speak on the school board about Brown Pride. Like, this is my third time trying to contact you guys. And I have it all recorded too. She told me that she had called me, and I asked her, I'm like, you should have called me again because I was being swamped with phone calls and text messages. And she's like, yeah, you're right. She's like, that's my fault. And when I emailed another, I guess, trustee of the school board, Dr. French, she had told me that they don't want to speak about the issue because they are working with their legal counsel. And it's best to, I guess, not bring up the investigation. And she also lied to me, saying that my mom contacted her saying that she wanted to meet, when that never happened. My mom was like, I never did that. I don't even know who this lady is. So right now I am working with LULAC on getting a lawyer. Um, but when I go to school, the dean of students, Stephanie Archuleta, is always looking at me to see what I'm wearing. She dress codes me constantly. Even if my stomach is showing a little bit like this, like, I'm dress coded. I don't really care. And, I don't like talking to the principals or the staffs. They are constantly just on me to see if I'm doing something. Um, And, you know, when the principal looks my way, I just give her the most dirtiest look because I'm just like, you don't deserve my respect. And, you know, I still have people that are always, you know, supporting me too, and that are willing to help me too. And, you know, a lot of bad things and good things have actually, you know, come out of this. Um, I guess the bad thing would be, you know, me struggling with, like, I guess trying to balance a normal life and then like that social media life too, you know, being 17 and being a senior trying to pass your chemistry class, like it's difficult. Um, and, you know, mentally I struggle a lot as well. So that's one of the things that has been a struggle. But um, I guess the good opportunities would be, you know, getting invited to do a photo shoot in California, you know, being invited to go speak at the Chola conference, being invited to the Chicano Heritage Festival in August, being invited to Washington, D.C. with LULAC, you know, singers, you know, that I've always loved and that I listened to since I was little, like DM me and tell me like, oh my God, like I love you, you're amazing, like, you know, thank you for standing up for La Raza, you know. And I've met some of the singers too, especially Mr. Capone. I met him at a Walmart. It was so random. Um, yeah, he was selling tickets for his concert here, but yeah, no, it was really random. And I've actually met Kid Frost and Guete, Mr. D. I've met MC Magic, Little Rob J. Rocks. And so, you know, them sharing it too was like big for me. And I know that Hypnotic, Mexican American singer or rapper, he wants to meet me. Mr. D wants to speak with me again too. So it's like good opportunities as well.
This is beautiful, sister. We're so proud of you. Like, I am just so like, I know all of us, mujeres and nuestras carnales, we're proud of you for you, you know, standing and not staying quiet. I mean, we're gonna open up for the questions for everyone, but I just want to say, you know, you keep being, you know, resilient, you know, and you know, our ancestors, we're all here with you. Chicana Power. Um, so if you have any questions, let us know and then just unmute yourself, okay?
Questions or comments?
Yes. I have a question.
Yeah.
How can we help you? I know I'm in Colorado, and what can we do to help you and bring this awareness that they're trying to silence our students?
I guess, you know, the video of mine is still, you know, getting likes, of course, and a lot of people have shared it, but even just sharing it would, you know, do something, you know, bring up the story and, you know, I guess find other stories too, because it's not just here in Idaho, and not just in my school. I know that in Yakima, Washington, they wanted to suspend a girl because she refused to take off her rosary. Um, it's not just my story, but everybody else's story that needs awareness too. I guess, you know, sharing other people's stories, finding the videos, finding, you know, finding problems that have already been resolved too. For example, like I think it was in Texas, I'm not sure. They refused to give a kid his diploma because he had, you know, Mexico's flag on him. They refused to give it to him. And I know he finally got it, but still bringing up that story still brings up awareness of like how we are treated, you know.
Thank you. Anyone else? Questions or comments, please?
I do. Buenas tardes. Me vengo para acá. Hola, hermosa Brenda. Wow. I am just thankful to, gracias, Verónica, también por invitarme and inviting me to the space. I'm very humbled. I'm very like, wow, hermosa Brenda. Todas ustedes que están aquí, I am actually a board member for my district here in Commerce City, Colorado. And sí, aquí estamos, hermana. I recently got appointed, and we have an all Chicano Mexican board. For the first time in history, we're like fighting racism because they're attacking our education. They're privatizing our education. And usually it starts with the Chicanos, right? With the Mexicans and all this, right? So I want to say, as not only as a community advocate and an appointed official, how can I help? How can we help? We could do a proclamation. We can do to support your school. I'll put my information here in the chat. And how can this Chicano board also highlight your story? Because we live that too, mija. My daughter's 16 and she was sitting here listening to your story, and she's getting mad. Like, did you hear that, mom? Did you hear that? And se está enojando, pero porque ellos también pasan por lo mismo a veces, ¿verdad? They get racially, I guess profiled, right? We do. So I do want to see how, as an appointed official here, I can support your cause, mija, and how can we unite, right? Because I know that if it's happening to you guys, it's going to be happening to us, because we're fighting the State Board of Education right now. We are a mostly 85% Mexican Chicano district, and we are like fighting a racist State Board of Education. So I understand exactly what you're going to at another level. Pero me encantaría ayudarte y apoyarte, Brenda. And maybe the students, maybe my daughter here as a teenager and my kids can take a lead here in supporting your cause. Gracias, chula.
Yeah, thank you. So with the students, actually, and they wouldn't be the first. I had a student in Boise. It's like another little town in Idaho. She contacted me on Instagram saying, they were gonna, I guess, hold like a Brown Pride presentation. And, I think the presentation was about discussing Brown Pride. She didn't give me too much information about it, but she was sharing it to her classmates that, weren't educated on it, especially the teachers. I think most states have a majority of just white teachers. I know that my school does. And she wasn't the first either. There was a friend of mine, actually. She decided to do a Brown Pride club, right, to fight for, our rights, because she told me that, I inspired her to do it. And that's what she wants to do. And I know that Cinco de Mayo, our schools have like a celebration, and she wants, Brown Pride to be featured at her table that she's gonna have. And she wants me there as well. And another group of students, actually, they contacted me saying that they were gonna go to our capital here in Idaho, and they were gonna be shouting Brown Pride and holding, Brown Pride signs. I guess anything, even just a simple t-shirt that says Brown Pride is, showing that you support not just me, but everybody else that has been through the struggle, which is everybody. And, even just the smallest little acts can do a lot. You'd be very surprised. I guess that's an idea of what the students can do.
Would it help to send to contact your board? You said they're not listening to you, they're not responding, is that correct?
Yeah.
Would it help for like an all Latino, an all Mexican Chicano board, even to send a message to them? What would that be? Because I would love to highlight your story to my board. We have our special, in 2 weeks we meet. So anything I could join. I mean, maybe perhaps sending a letter or calling them out. They need to listen to their students. They need to listen to you.
If I can interject, the main problem that the school is hiding behind is that the police department in Idaho is using Brown Pride as a gang labeled activity. So we have to challenge the police departments and the FBI gang units on their language of how they label our children. They want to label them when they use brown pride. They want to label them if they do whistling in school. They want to anyone who shops at the Jefitos, they want to label them as a gang member. If they
Yeah.
label them as a gang member, that will make them a terrorist. That means that they lose their Fourth Amendment right, and their house can be raided at any moment, or even their car without even a warrant, because they're now a terrorist because they're a gang member. So I think the first angle that we should take is lifting up brown pride as 500 years of nonviolent resistance and resilience. It's not a gang. If a gang member has a tattoo of brown pride, it's because he's brown, not because he's a gang member. And so any proclamation that we can write, right? Any proclamation that we can write saying that brown pride is not a gang and that we will not wear, the colonizers' attitude of violence and colonial violence to our community. We do it with love. We do it with tacos. We do it with educating. And so I think if, I would like that for us to take that angle, saying brown pride is nonviolent resistance and resilience, and it's not a gang, and we will not allow them to label our children for another generation.
You need to type that up there somewhere, ahí pónmela, so we could copy and start pasting that and sharing it all over, you know what I mean? If you don't mind, or anything that will help. Because a mí me da miedo, because I have 2 brown kids,
Yeah.
16 and 18, and my nieces and nephews, and we are racially profiled all the time. In fact, my mom has mi mamá, una abuelita, mi jefita, trae su little cachuchita. It says brown pride. She wears it all the time.
Yeah.
I make fun of her. I'm like, Mama, ¿por qué trae esa gorrita? She goes, I like it. I'm brown and proud. And
Yeah.
so yeah, thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for your resiliency, Brenda. Ánimo, mija, aquí estamos con usted.
Yeah, I also forgot to mention too, the school told us that we were allowed to wear brown and proud, but not brown pride. Same thing, just worded differently. And I forgot to mention also that my school got vandalized a few days later with it saying white pride and fuck your brown pride, and they try to make it like, I guess like Norteños had done it, right? And they had gotten pictures, and it was, Latino kids, but they don't have pictures of their faces because they have the ski mask on, and they are wearing all black. But I noticed some details, like one of them's wearing a Pro Club sweater, one of them has Dickie shorts, one of them has a Ben Davis beanie. I'm just like, okay, you guys look stupid, first of all. And they decided not to take it as a crime, as a hate crime, because they, I don't know why they decided not to do that. They just labeled it as vandalism, not a hate crime. And then a few days later, the police department tried saying that it was students at the protest that had done it, trying to blame us for it. So I was like, your evidence is where? So yeah, that's something I forgot to mention as well. And I have pictures of it too. It was everywhere. I remember it even ended up on the news. So that's one thing I forgot to mention.
Thank you so much, sister. Letty go ahead, Letty. Hermana.
Hi, mija, pues, thank you for you, first of all. And second, there's no evidence, there will never be any evidence that it was Los Niños, our people that did that, and there will never be anything. It's just, they're going to do anything they can to scare you.
Yeah.
They're going to do anything to make it so that way you're like, oh, well, our own people are going to go up and do all this, and we're going to do that. But it's your people who are supporting you. They're scared because they know they did wrong.
Yeah.
And they know that you, being a niña, you're a mija, but you're a future revolutionary leader. Look at you go. And they know that you're something to be reckoned with. They know that you're a force to be reckoned with, and they're going to be scared because they know you're calling them out on their mierda.
Yeah.
And por eso you just keep going. You keep going. It doesn't matter. You're always going to be judged. Pues mis niños también tiene pelo largo and they're so beautiful y todo eso. All our heritage is so beautiful, and they're always going to do that just because of the way that we look. It's never going to be because of what we do. It's because of the way we look, and we're scared. They're scared because they don't want us to be back where we were. So intimidation tactics, narcissist tactics, they're going to try to use it. Oh, well, they dress like cholos, so it must have been cholos. They did it. White people have been trying to steal our culture for how long?
Oh
How
yeah.
long, you know?
Oh,
It's Taco Tuesday. Okay, well,
kids
we
like
live in a
that
Taco
too.
Tuesday. We eat tacos every day, you
Yeah.
know? Así somos. So you just keep going strong, mija, and thank you for being you.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, by the way, back to question. So about the school board, if you guys want to email them, go ahead. The Caldwell School Board District, Dr. French would be the one that you would be talking to. I don't really think they answer their emails on the weekend, but there is one member on the school board who is Mexican American. She is my friend's tia, actually. Do not trust anything she says. Her name is Marisela Bresina, I believe. And she, actually spoke at one of Jefito's car shows saying that she's a proud Chicana, when in reality, she actually makes fun of Chicanos and Chicanas, calls them losers and stuff like that. So that is fair warning. And so yeah, Dr. French would be the one that you would email. And if you want to call them, they have they're open at like certain times throughout the day. So yeah, that is an option. Because I've been trying to get other students to do that too, asking about, is Brown Pride going to be on the agenda? And I feel like honestly, that's going to be the only way, because if they're not letting me, then what am I supposed to do? They're not letting me. And it's like, it's not right, because, I have a right to, tell them, freedom of speech, like it's my right. So yeah, that is one of the things that would help a lot.
Thank you so much, mijita. Anybody else have a question or comment?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
So yes, just wanted to really just piggyback off of what everybody else has said. You are amazing. And it's an honor to have you here today sharing your story with us. I, for one, had not heard of it. So as much as it's going around, it's not going around enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will definitely continue to raise awareness about what is going on there, and also try to support in the various ways that have been mentioned. But I did want to also point out, it's a subject that comes up for us a lot. When we're talking about building community, is how do we engage our youth? And matter of fact, we were just having this conversation this past week. And we talk about our youth and the fearlessness. I'm 43 years old. I'll be 44 this year. So I'm a ways from you. At your age, I already had a child, but we can all recall that fearlessness. And so I would just encourage you to hold on to that. And just wanted to ask you, what can we do as adults, to encourage and to foster that spirit that you have in you to fight, to stand up for what is right?
Well, I guess, telling other kids, even if they have been discriminated or not, like in the Latin community or outside the Latin community, it's, they need to hear it. And you're right, I feel like it's not being shared enough either, because I still want people to see it. I want this all over the place. It needs to be seen. It's an issue that's been going on for so long. And, they decide, I guess specifically white people decide to say, oh, well, this community is bad, but this community is not. This person looks like a gang member, so they are a gang member, even though they don't have a criminal record. And, I guess sharing it to other students and, tell them like, it's okay to be scared, but you need to stand up for you, because nobody else will. And if nobody else is going to stand up for your community, then why would others? Like, it takes one person for others to follow. And, I feel like our my generation today, they are so scared of being judged by, their friends, or like just classmates, or like just other people around the world. And I was scared of that, because I was like, what if I'm overreacting? Then I was like, I'm not overreacting. Like, I don't care what anybody else says, like, this has to be done or else it'll never be fixed. So that's, what I did. And I try to tell everybody too, like, you can do it even though if you're scared, like, it's okay. Like, even if you have one supporter behind you, that's really all you need, just one supporter. And if you have a bunch of them, then that's amazing too. But you don't need that many supporters, to do something like that I did. So I guess in a way, just encourage your students to not be ashamed of their culture, and don't let anybody try to say, oh, well, brown pride is this, or your culture is that, or, your ancestors are this and they did this. They don't know anything because they aren't educated. Just like my school, they are not educated. And, we're me and other Chicanos and Chicanas, not just Hispanics, but even kids that are Puerto Rican, African American, any kid that is not white gets targeted at my school. And there's a lot of us, honestly, but there's more white teachers than, other race teachers. I think we only have like one African American teacher that's a math teacher. My orchestra teacher is half Hispanic, half white. And we don't have a lot of Hispanic teachers. We have Hispanic staffs, but other than that, everyone is mostly just white. And I think Stephanie Archuleta is Mexican American, and she tries to act like she's white, and she is racist towards her own race. And she's actually racist towards everybody. She was calling a white man Asian racial slurs one time at Target. But no, encouraging your students and not letting them, telling them not to let anyone put them down, for who they are.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Brenda.
Yeah, of course.
And just want to tell you that Partido is here to support you, and I know you and I have been in communication, and we will continue in communication to see how the Partido can continue to support. And one thing I definitely want to I guess raise and let you know too from us is that Chicana is a beautiful word, and never hesitate to use the term Chicana. I think that's something that has continued to be destroyed and erased in the community and society. And so one thing, definitely the first time meeting you, was beautiful to hear you use Chicana. And I know as you continue getting into all these different settings and meeting all these different people, other words are going to be pressed on you, like Latinx, Hispanic, etc. I continue to encourage you to stay true to you, stay true to your Chicana identity, and help uplift the Chicano community, because our community is with you. And like somebody put in the comments, like, the Chicano community is the one resharing. The Chicano community is the one, reaching out. And so that is your community. And here you have a home with us, with the Partido. For all of those listening, that are logged on today, thank you so much for logging on. I know Brenda has something to do after this. So I want to honor and respect her time as well. And for everybody that is maybe just joining us for the first time for your first Xicana Caucus meeting, really encourage you to check out the Partido on our website. It's www.razaunidaparty.org. And you can go ahead and join us and join our study groups. But thank you so much, Brenda. I don't know if you want to let us know anything else before we take off, but I did want to just honor and respect your time, because you did communicate with me that you had something to do. So thank you so much.
I have modeling yet too, so it's like trying to hurry up. But I'm just contacting the school board, and even just calling them out too will make them feel some type of way. They are very sensitive, especially like the teachers at my school. So, and if you want to go ahead and send, emails to the principal at Caldwell High School, or just anybody, and call them out on them, go ahead. If they calm me down, I probably won't even go down to the office. But if you want to do that, go ahead. Because just know that they'll take it very seriously. But yeah, that is one thing that would be helping for the students too, sharing the story, and even just wearing, you know, a brown pride shirt that would show the support too.
And somebody asked in the chat, what is the name of the school district?
Caldwell School District.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think we're done. I think everybody's done with questions or comments. Anybody else out there?
Thank you so much, Peggy, too, and Vero for leading today.
Yes, thank you both. I appreciate it. Thank you, hermana.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm honored.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Everybody have a beautiful day.
Thank you too.
Y que viva la raza.
Viva.
Que viva.
Chicana.
Chicana Power.
Go.